Imagine this in Melbourne, in Brisbane or in Sydney. Centre Point Tower destroyed, the Opera House in ruins, the Harbour Bridge collapsed. Imagine the trauma, the suffering of the families with loved ones buried. This is the reality of New York, Ground Zero and the surrounds, not just home to the world's financial centre, but also around 50,000 people. Like Sarah and Peter Pulkkinen, allowed back to their apartment just long enough to gather a few belongings and get out. Like many here, Peter works in the stock market, his office just meters away from the World Trade Center when the first plane hit.
It was almost like if you were opening a can of tennis balls and the pressure on the other side blew, people, chairs and tables and what have you out the side of the building. And then you saw just a ring of fire, and I worked literally 60 feet away, just on the other side.
At the same time, wife Sarah was at home, a few blocks away. She immediately ran towards the disaster site, though she wishes she hadn't.
And I watched as people fell to their deaths, and it was the most horrific thing I've ever seen. And also was there when the second plane hit. There was a stampede to go north, and a real fear for your life obviously hit then.
We were able to get out, which is, we're very lucky. We consider ourselves very lucky versus, colleagues and people we know that weren't so lucky.
You know some people that are missing?
Yeah.
It must be extremely difficult.
Everybody around here does.
In one sense, things will never be the same with the memories and the things that we both saw that day.
They leave not knowing when they'll be back. Doubtful life will ever return to normal. Around Ground Zero, everyone is attempting to piece something of their old lives together, washing away the dust of the pulverised buildings. But there's no sweeping away the horrific memories. At the local wine store, friends have rallied to help owner Michael Platt. Many of his customers are buried in the rubble just a few blocks away.
The economic ramifications of this are going to be far-reaching. My business in particular, being a block south of Wall Street, survives on the Christmas holidays. And what kind of holiday season am I going to have? A lot of my customers are gone. A lot of people I knew and worked with are gone. And it's hard. It's very hard.
Outside, temporary power cables snake through the streets. Underground tunnels are flooded. With thousands of troops and police on guard, there's no semblance of the city of just a week ago. Most residents are simply packing bags and getting out as fast as they can.
It's horrible. It's horrible. You don't feel safe going anywhere. So I'm just glad we want to get out of this area now. So
you feel unsafe here now?
Yeah.
Just how insecure I was about to discover. Police yell for everyone to run for their lives, and no one knows why. This fear is easily triggered. Horrific images far too fresh in everyone's mind.
Well, look, we've just been told to clear out of this area. We're not sure why, but such is the level of fear and panic that as soon as that order was given, everyone just hightailed it out of here. Excuse me, do you know what's going on?
No, the Liberty is falling down. It's buckling and it's coming down.
Did you see it?
No, but it's right there. But we live right there.
Right on the block, and we just heard people shrieking and running down the block.
The building that we'd been standing under a few seconds ago is about to collapse. That's what we're told. And at this stage, we don't know it's a false alarm.
Yeah, don't drop it.
I find Julie Harvey struggling to evacuate the area.
What do you got in here?
My entire life, I just packed it.
You're just getting out of here. Yeah.
Well, I just need a few things right now. My place is covered in ash.
Keeping her mind occupied on the problems at hand, she tells me she hasn't had time to reflect on the terrible things she and her friends have witnessed.
The problem is a lot of these people have seen flying body parts. They've seen people jumping from windows, people running from the exhaust. I've been in it 12 hours, like the day of, just photographing. I was right on the site the day of, just because it was amazing.
A few metres away, Army medic Albert Delaunay is coping as best he can. Unprepared like everyone else, for the scale and horror of this urban slaughter.
You're trained to save lives, and yet tragically there were so few lives to be saved, weren't there? That must have been very hard for you.
Yeah, it set me back a few steps when we're, working down there, and all you're finding is pieces or half bodies. So I mean, it's different. I mean,
how have you coped with that? I mean, I know you're in the military. You're trained to accept that sort of thing, but you can't possibly have ever been trained for this situation in a civilian sense.
No, you really don't. I mean, I'll admit I broke down after a while, and just deal with it.
Those ghastly experiences clearly mark everyone here. Relating to those outside the cordon isn't easy. The financial realities of this calamity have yet to be tested, but today may be the day.
It's hard to believe that this is the world's financial centre, the New York Stock Exchange, due to open in just a few hours. But many are predicting the reverberations from the collapsed building are yet to hit the financial market. And when they do, what's happened here becomes a global financial problem.